say, just quickly, would you say your like journey has been a spirit? Is a spiritual the right word to use?
Yeah. Yeah. Have we started now?
Well, we just start. We just start
Okay.
and then we'll edit it.
Hi guys.
Yeah, what was your question?
Yeah, is that the right word to use? Like a spiritual journey? Like, would you say you were spiritual before you started? Just out of curiosity. Don't know if I'm using the right word.
Okay, so I'll share a bit about my life, perhaps. So
Yeah.
around 26, I had an awakening, which, in my perspective, is when you wake up to the truth of the fact that there's so much more than just yourself. So that, yeah, it's a spiritual journey. You end up just waking up from being unconscious to conscious.
Conscious.
Yeah.
I've heard that before though. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, for me it's like fascinating.
Yeah.
Like,
Because like
how does it happen?
awakening, it's like, I don't know. It sounds like obviously it's a big change, right?
Yeah, so some people either experience something quite painful, and that not pushes in, but you kind of feel like you go through a dark place, and a part of you kind of dies, and you just wake up. It's a bit like The Matrix. Have you seen The Matrix? Where you wake up and realise that there's so much more than what you thought.
When you say something painful, do you mean like a painful experience?
Could be a painful experience, could be accumulation of them, or sometimes people just get sick of things and they just outgrow things and they wake up, you know. And if people are still haven't had that experience, there's no judgment with it as well, you know. You don't look at them and think, oh, they're unconscious. You just.
But I've heard that before. Like I've heard people talk about. I think it comes from more of a religious side of things. I think it's Christians, if I'm right. I could be wrong, but someone I know said they had an awakening, and they can say, oh, they're not. I've heard them say about other people, like they're not woke yet.
Mm.
So I'm like, what? So does that mean everyone at some point will have that?
I think it's personal, isn't it? It's an individual soul experience, you know, just like our perspectives. All of us have been brought up differently, had different perspectives, experiences, and what shapes you, your life, everything. So where people, if they do or don't, I guess it's up to the soul and your journey. I don't think that you come in here with a plan of, oh, I'm going to awaken, you know. It either happens or it doesn't.
Do you think, like, does it happen over a period of time, or is it like literally one kind of moment?
I can only talk from my experience and other people.
Yeah.
So for me, I went through several things, and then one of them just was the final stop, and I hit rock bottom, you know, real rock bottom, and it felt like a part of me was dying. I didn't feel, it was really, it's like what they call a dark night of the soul. You just feel low. Part of me just didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And then that pain ends up waking you up in a way that I can't explain. You become conscious of the fact that, you know, there's something so much bigger than just me that I thought about before, you know.
Do you think that comes from like how people deal with certain things? So like you said, you being at rock bottom. Not everyone's experienced that.
Yeah, you don't.
Like people have been in pain. Like everyone's had pains and struggles and stuff like that. But not everyone has felt like they're at rock bottom. So do you think it's the way how people deal with it then? Because some people that I've heard of that have hit rock bottom deal with it the complete opposite way and just stay there. Do you know what I mean? So for you, it felt like it was you hit rock bottom, and then you kind of bounced back. You dealt with it in a different way.
When it comes to like the spiritual journey, you just go inwards, and you know, even I've had hard moments, but I don't see it like that. I feel it's something that you just awaken to about yourself. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does.
You awaken. It's not something that you kind of wake up to. You wake up to a lot of things about yourself, about life, and just the connection is just deeper. You're more conscious in your actions and the way that you are with people. There's more compassion. I can't. It's just that's yeah.
I think that's what fascinates me so much about it, because I don't really have any clue. Like I don't have
enough
spiritual
knowledge
side
on it to like fully understand it. So it's just, when I listen to you, I'm just like wow.
Taken back, yeah, because when you haven't experienced something like that, it sounds so, I can't describe it, like amazing.
But we're all souls, right? You know, everyone looks at us like we're bodies, we're people, but like within that, we're all souls. So I feel like most people can resonate or connect to that because that's in us. It's accessible to everyone.
Okay, so was that awakening like your journey into meditation and everything?
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't realise I was going through an awakening. I don't think anyone really does.
Yeah.
I thought I was just like depressed and then So I've been quite open about this with you before in the past. How I've gone to see psychics and mediums in the past. I have, and when I was unconscious, I used to say like they're crazy and it's a load of rubbish. And that's the word of when you're unconscious. You don't see things the way that you do when you've awakened. And it doesn't make someone, by the way, more superior to be awakened. So if anyone thinks that, that's also an unconscious thought. You know, we're all equal, and you should respect everything. But yeah, I went to a few, well not a few, two mediums, and where I wouldn't even step out into that world of it, they kind of blew me away. They told me things that in my life and the painful experiences I went through, which no one else would really know, and shared some of the things, and it just opened my eyes more. I was like, wow, I'm realising that, you know, this is a deep process. I'm now like processing through something, and I do believe in spirit. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe there's something greater than just, you know, this. I do.
When you say higher power, sorry to interrupt, but when you say higher power, can you talk on that a little bit? Because when you say higher power, that always blows my mind.
To you, that's like Muhammad Salah.
Yeah. Something like that. But like, yeah.
It's what you feel and what you believe. But for me, I believe that there is, whether you want it called God, Buddha, anything, you know, I believe in angels. I believe there's another realm. I believe there's more than just this. Yeah, I do.
It's actually an exciting conversation. Like this makes me feel like, because I'm caught in two minds with that whole thing of like higher power and is there more out there. I want to believe it, but I'm caught right in the middle, and I have been for years, where I'm like, I don't know. Like we don't know, to be fair, we don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not religious, but I do believe there is a higher power. Yeah. Like there's something there.
There's got to be something. There's got to be something in this world which is more than what we know. And I think that's what fascinates me. Find out more, but will we ever know?
Yeah.
It's like it's one of them questions where it's like so up in the air. And it's like,
I guess it just comes down to what you believe in.
It does come down to what you believe in, I guess. And I guess it shapes people's lives differently. So a lot of people follow a spiritual journey, a religious journey, or some people don't really believe in anything like that and still have a life that they're happy with or feel fulfilled in.
Yeah.
See, just from everything I've experienced and what I've learned, I'm not here to I'm not here to gain the car, the house, and the perfect family. I'm here to evolve. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow, and it's from within. You know, there's stuff there that needs to be fixed through, worked through, and then everything else. Just you are here to experience and enjoy life. I'm not saying that you're not, but there's so much more than just the attainment of things. You know, because that doesn't really bring you happiness.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Like, especially when you say growth, I think it's massive. Like growing as a person, rather than like people are so fixed on materialistic things these days, and they forget that your life journey is like a main part of is growing as a person.
Yeah, it's the culture that we live in, though. It's the world. The way that it is, everything's just amplified more.
Everything's external, like everything.
Yeah.
People's deem as happiness is external. It's like everything that they have or they want.
And it's not to make anyone feel bad if you have got that. It's more of, if you feel that's your be-all, end-all and you're attached to it, I would reevaluate that, you know? Like, my car doesn't, that doesn't define my worth and who I am. It's just a material object. It's kind of like working on yourself. But even if you did have a really nice item out there, a house, car, do you see what I'm saying? If you're not attached to the item, you kind of know, and you work on yourself and you learn from the lessons and things like that. Whereas some people I've met, and there's no judgment to that. And even I used to be that way when I was younger. You know, I did feel like it was all about the material items, but that's when I was conscious, unconscious. Definitely not awake. Definitely not.
No. Sorry, Carol.
Sorry, no, that was it.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I think obviously we've had this conversation on another podcast. I think it was episode 6 maybe, where we spoke about happiness.
Yeah.
And Ryan asked a question like, can money buy happiness? Is it money can buy happiness?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, can money buy happiness? And like we had a debate about it, and we were like, yeah, but yes, but no. Basically, was the outcome. Was saying that short term it can, and even long term it can, I guess.
Yeah.
In ways, but it depends on what people want from their lives. If having a nice house, a nice car, is what they want for their life, then obviously they need money for that. So yeah, in long term and short term, buying things to make them feel good.
It comes down.
Is the same.
Comes down to perspective, I think. I know people that are extremely wealthy, and you know they feel exactly the same things that someone would if they were not wealthy. You know, you're not. You don't get a hall pass to not feel things.
You're not
to experience grief.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I've travelled a lot, and I've been to countries where poverty's not great. It's very bad, and people were happier there. So to me, really, is money all that? I mean, I actually had this one person come up to me, I think I was at St. Lucia, and said to me, "Oh, you're rich," and my heart was just like, "No, you're rich. You don't see in my perspective, you're rich. You know, you see it as me because I'm a tourist or because I'm foreign, but for me, I see it as you're rich, and that's for me. I would prefer not to have like this. Just the way that the world that you live in now. You have the peace. It's just different. You know, you're living by this coast. It's just different. When you have more money as well, sometimes you do. Who said that? More money, more problems. But it's things like that. You can attain these things. There's nothing wrong with that. And some people say it buys you freedom, less struggles, and you're entitled to that perspective and opinion. But for me and my heart, I know that it's not everything. You know, it's not my all. Obviously, I need money to eat and to live a life, but it's not my. It's how you live in your heart. You know, if you are at peace, if you're at peace, you're happy.
I think that's actually huge because, like, touching on what you said about travelling and when you've been in places that have, like, the poverty is bad, that was something switched in my head when I went to India. And first time I've been, like, don't get me wrong, like, credit to my parents, I've been amazing countries, seen great places, but all the nice places, I've never been to somewhere like that before. And the first time I went to India was actually good for my parents, I think, because they never let me go when I was young, and I never understood because I was like, well, that's where I'm from, that's my background. Like, why have I not been? And I was 16, 17, I still hadn't been, and I was just so confused. But now I look back on it, it was actually a good thing because I never would have understood. Whereas when I went to see Punjab and understand what it was like there. It changed everything for me. Yeah. Like even going to the Golden Temple and just seeing people on the streets and how they live. Yeah, it's crazy. Right?
Yeah, you have to go back and visit everyone.
Oh, it's crazy. But that like switched something in my head. Like when I come back from that, because I was there for 2 weeks. I come back and I was like, this is there is more to life than what I think there is. And obviously I think it was a good age for me to go. So I was still naive. well, I probably still am now, but you know what I mean. It kind of like grew my mindset and made me think like, right, I need to be more grateful, because like it's good that I'm ambitious and I want to always do more and achieve more, but sometimes step back and just be grateful for what you got, because when you see that and you see how people are living, and like you said, they're still happy. They might not have anything, they might just be able to eat and just be able to get by, but they're still happy, probably happier than me in some aspects, and that was huge for me. So I'm actually glad I went there. And I've always said, and I don't know if I've said to you before, I've said to you, I definitely want to go back and experience it, because then when you go, have you ever been to Mumbai?
No, I've been to Punjab.
Punjab, yeah. I went to Mumbai and it was like different. I was like I was in a different country. It was like tourist people there everywhere. Everywhere was nice and built up, and like the levels there was huge. There's no in between. It's like really good or like really bad. So that was huge for me.
Yeah, it wakes you up, doesn't it? Like,
massive.
And it changes your perspective on things, like what you valued here, and then when you go there and then you think, okay, like these kids don't have any of this, and I'm worried about like what new iPhone I'm going to get, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Massive.
I agree with you. I remember my first time going to India as well, and I was young. I probably was about 11, and my first experience was children begging, and I was a child, and that hit my heart pretty deep.
Yeah.
Like, we went back to see family, and I mean it opened my eyes, like you said. You wake up to it, don't you? And I remember we went with full suitcases, but we came back with empty ones. We gave them all away. Like, you know, I remember my sister, she gave a pair of like these school shoes that were ruined. They weren't really like in good
What would
condition.
we would class as?
Yeah, but they're not really ruined. You know, you're kind of a bit worn. This boy, he took them and he was just so in love with them. And he was like showing them around, grabbed our hand.
Changed his life.
Yeah, went round and was showing everyone his shoes, and you just realised from that, it was a bit like, wow, you're not even appreciating the fact that you have something that is, you know, you just see the difference of the way that the worlds are, and wakes you up. You have a deeper gratitude in your heart for the simplest things, you know. I think that's what happens. We get too in our heads, and the way that the world is with advertising, got to have the latest thing, newest thing. If not, you're not up to date. You're not with things. It's a load of crap. It's such bombardment. But again, if you're into that, that's your thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. But I realise that sometimes having less is, not having less, but it's just there's a deeper appreciation in your heart, you know.
Yeah, and just going to that point you made about like advertising and how it's so in your face nowadays. I mean, like, we're surrounded by it. Do you think meditation is a good way to like get away from that and kind of just take yourself out of this crazy world?
I'll be honest, so when I started meditation, I've been doing it now for about 9 years, and I really struggled at the beginning, but the person I was before to how I've grown, it's helped me massively. I feel there's great value in being able to connect to your breath and connecting to yourself, because we're in a world that's constantly telling you to connect to other people and connect to anything external, and you wonder why everyone's like full of anxiety and you know, unhappy. It's, you know, start with yourself, connect to yourself first, because this world is going to keep trying to distract you, you know. So yeah, meditation to me was the first point of changing my life, to be quite honest. That was the first step to really, I used to overthink massively, especially when you come out of that awakening, you know, you don't feel like you fit. I just felt like I outgrew a lot of people. You just kind of like, you shed skin, you know. So I went to this meditation class because I didn't resonate with any apps. I tried a few and I was a bit like, my mind was so powerful that, not realising at the time, but I didn't have the patience to even listen to the app, you know. That's how much my mind was taken over and how it would just chat. So I, when I said to you guys about going to a medium and a psychic, I remember one of my questions was like, I know that I'm like starting a lot of change is happening, and she mentioned, you know, I need to still my mind. So after that experience when she said still your mind. I gave it a Google and wanted, you know, how do you still your mind? It's like meditation. So that was my next step, was to follow this journey on exploring that. So yeah, I think I was with my yoga friend who in a way has been a mentor in my life without really realising it. She's been a friend that's just been open and is conscious, and I just felt like no one else around me was. Again, that's no judgment, you just feel quite lonely. So I would be able to talk to her, and I just explained to her that I've been overthinking, I can't, you know, I feel like I'm struggling with life a lot. And she, as we were talking, I remember seeing a poster on the side, and she was like, I just said I need to do some meditation, like that's what I'm being guided to do. I feel like I should just at least try and explore it. And she was like, there's a poster right behind your head. And I just, you know, synchronicity, just turned around. It was that day, in the evening after work. It was not too far away, in person. You know, I was just a bit like, wow. You know, the way things flow. So I then got really nervous. Again, this is like my mind taking over. I was just like, I don't know if I want to go. She was like, the hardest part is just getting there. So I was like, okay. I think most people say it when they go into the gym,
though,
don't they? Yeah, so for me it was like, that's when resistance is there. I mean, it's telling you something. You know, sometimes you really just need to push through that fear or that, and just see what happens at the end of it. So yeah, I went to the meditation class. I was the youngest one there, and my mind's, you know, for someone who's working in the city to then just sitting in this meditation class, it just felt really. You just feel weird.
What was you? Sorry,
from fast paced to really quiet.
Yeah, what was you doing at the time in terms of work?
Oh, so a private PA,
Right.
For
Yeah, no, I was just wondering.
individuals. So it's a full on stressful job as well.
Yeah. So I can imagine your mind running wild.
Yeah, just a lot going on.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
And like from the hustle and bustle, even just you go and stand in London and just stand
I hate
there.
Feel it.
Everyone's moving, you know,
I hate
everything's
that.
it's just quick. So from that to then walking into this room and everyone's just energetically relaxed, and their minds might not be, but the energy in the room was just really calm, and I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. You know, you're not used to it from being around just a different environment. So then, I remember finding it really difficult. Like the first time, I found it really difficult to focus on my breath. I just felt like I wasn't doing it right. I kept asking all these questions. My mind was playing loads of stories, and then I left and I didn't return for 6 weeks. That was
What, to put you off?
It's because of my resistance. My mind just really took over. When you're doing something good for yourself, and there's a resistance there, it's like, for me, my mind was trying to stop me, you know, from doing something that's going to benefit my life. And
because of what it was used to, it was basically trying to.
Yeah, it's like breaking the habit, but it's also the mind is, for me, what I've realised is the mind is to distract you, you know?
It's actually true, because when we done, obviously people that wouldn't know, I've done a meditation session with you, obviously. I find it so hard. I said it to you before, but like, close my eyes and my brain will start going through everything in my life. Like, I will start thinking about what I'm doing the next day, the person I'm training, what I'm doing in the evening. I can't shut it off. And that's what made me realise when I said to you, I said, my mind's just going crazy. I can't concentrate. Like, I can't concentrate on what I need to do at that time. Like, I'm thinking about the next thing, or what's happened. And then it's like even the same with when I try and sleep and stuff. I try and listen to, like, what do they call it? The meditation, like the sleeping, talk you to sleep basically. And even with that, my mind just goes, and then I'm like, oh, I need to come back. It's so crazy, because your mind is so powerful that can, like you said, distract you from what you need to do at the time.
Yeah, same with me. Sorry, like even, you know, when like, I can control my breathing and get to that like really peaceful stage, but then as soon as there's silence, my mind just goes crazy.
But that's the nature of it.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the mind. It's not you. You're not your mind. That mind is there, and it's just being able to distinguish that as well. Like, you're not your thoughts. You're not your head, and to create that space. And that's what meditation does.
It sounds simple as well, doesn't it? Like, when you look on the outside, it sounds simple. Like the whole breathing thing. This might sound crazy. You might laugh. I was I couldn't breathe. Like when it's like breathing in like 5 seconds, I'm like, and I'm like dying. I'm like, I can't breathe. And I was really struggling. Then I made me realise like I can't even breathe. Like I can't control myself. So what is going on?
But with compassion, have compassion and be gentle with yourself, because at the end of the day,
you need help.
Yeah, I need help.
At the end of the
Can't
day,
breathe.
like, I wasn't taught meditation. Have you guys been taught meditation? Some people have, some people haven't. Again, no judgment and no blame to that. It's just becoming aware that if you knew, then you would have probably known how to breathe and connect to your breath. But if you haven't really been taught that, then you're not going to. And we're in a culture that's constantly distracting you. A lot of people are holding their breath, people are not breathing. And it is about working with yourself. You know, it's about working with yourself and coming back to yourself and breathing and connecting and taking that 5 minutes, and when you feel stressed out to really breathe deeply.
Yeah, I think the breathing thing is massive, even for like, I've started using it over like the past year, but like even little things like, you know, I always have toothaches, like crazy, and like I could be in the most pain, but if I get my breathing right, I'm alright. And I think you can take that into anything you do, like whether it's the gym or
it's
any stressful thing you're going through.
To be fair, I think I do the same thing if I ever get angry. If I'm angry and I want to like go or like say something, if I breathe, give it a sec, alright, cool, it's gone. Do you know what I mean? Like I let it go. So that has helped in that sense. It's powerful. It is powerful. It's one of them things I've always tried to get into more and be more aware of. Obviously that's why we had the conversation last time. To be real, I haven't really stuck with it as much as I would have liked, because I've had other things going on, like you said, distractions.
It's okay.
And all that. But it's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think at one point I will be into it as much as I've always wanted to be, but I think right now I need help.
That's why be gentle with yourself and allow things to unfold as they are. Like I feel that when you put more pressure on yourself to do it, it kind of doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But then there has to be something in your heart that just feels right to work through it. You know, like you have to push through that resistance, and again, it's just a personal thing that you decide for yourself and what feels right. After the 6 weeks, I returned, and I realised that during those 6 weeks, my mind just went. I mean, the thoughts got worse. The overthinking just piled up more, and from that one time after that one session, I felt that a little bit better, and my body recognised that, so that's why I returned. It was a bit like I've just given up too easily. And my minds took over. So I went back and I made a friend. A friend, this girl that was the same age as me. She was like, "Oh, I haven't seen you. I saw you once, and then you disappeared." And I was a bit like, "Yeah, I just had a lot come up." But we're friends till this day now, and we've grown together on this journey. And it's so nice when you've got someone as well that you can talk to about it, because you just bounce off each other and you're able to share what you've kind of. We'd go through this session, meditation class, and afterwards we sit and talk about what we feel or what we've discovered, or just perspective. And sometimes we wouldn't talk about anything, but when you have someone that you can but grow with, it's just it's nice when you've got like a group feel, like a class.
Yeah, we spoke about this on the last one, didn't we? About having an environment, a social group in a sense of like that's going to support you through whatever you're going through. And you want to be able to relate to people, to what you're going through. And if it's something new, it is. It's the same with like my work and stuff. I tell clients, I was like, try and find someone to work out with. It's the same thing. You want to be able to relate. You don't want to be going to the gym by yourself if you've never been before. Try and find someone that will go with you. You can relate, bounce off each other, push yourself through it, and it's similar. And that's that aspect, I guess. But yeah, talk us a little bit. So you was working as a PA, right, assistant in. When was this? What age was you when you went to the first meditation? Did you say 26?
27.
27?
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about before 27?
I was a wild one. Let's put it that way. I was wild. Party girl.
Hot girl summer.
If you met me then, you won't know me now. I mean, if you met me last year, you won't know.
You always said that to me before.
I'm always changing, and I feel like I know that in myself. I'm evolving, and I'm letting life and experiences and people flow and go. You know, people come and go, and that's the nature of it. But if people are not working on themselves, that's just the way that it is. You vibrate, and you kind of connect and attract, and you find your right people, and you just send love. you know, to everyone and anyone. But I couldn't say that before. Before that, I was drinking. Everything was excessive. I mean, I don't think I'd go out partying and not have a day off. Like I would do it Monday to
back to back.
Yeah, and I remember the words of, I can't be on my own. I can't sit in the house on my own. That's how I felt all the time, you know, and I didn't understand it. Just didn't like it.
So is that what made you think be like party girl every day?
Yeah, it's linked to trauma. So you know,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but at the time I didn't know that. And you're unconscious as well. So I believe and I feel strongly that, well, I know this because obviously with craniosacral therapy, that we all hold an element of trauma even when you're born, to everything. Every experience most experiences are trauma. So I feel that in our society and the way the culture is, they define trauma as just the big, you know, abuse, war, you know, the real tough things to hear. But trauma is also going through a divorce, having a separation, losing a loved one, maybe watching someone pass away, you know, physically, if you like, could be being bullied, anything. It's anything that overwhelms your nervous system is a trauma, and I feel like it's been it's just not given enough
attention.
Recognition for the truth of what it is, and it's coming to the surface now because we're evolving, especially with everything that's happened with coronavirus. People are becoming more aware. But it's working through it as well. You know, if someone's angry and they're stressed and they project that onto you, you know that's not coming. That's coming from somewhere. From somewhere.
That's what I was just about to say. Is like everyone's actions. They're coming from somewhere, and there's always a deeper meaning behind why people are a certain type of way. That's why, like, I'm open. Like, I always understand. Like, I think I do anyway. I think I always understand. Like, if I don't get on with someone or whatever, if someone's angry or shouting abuse or whatever it is, I'd always think there's a deeper meaning behind that. Like, that's come from somewhere. And it kind of relates again back to my work, is like relationship with food. That comes from somewhere. Like you said, a trauma or something that's happened early in their life, and they've attached to food for a certain reason. Could be for a certain coping mechanism. So it's the same thing. Like, there's always a reason behind an action. Some of them are obviously have purpose. Like, we want to take action to something, so we do it, or something we don't even realise why we do it. Like dealing with a stress or something like work related through food. So it's a similar thing. There's always a deeper meaning.
I agree, and I think that's why I always now take like a second or a breath before I react to something, because like, you know, someone could say something and you know in your head like that wasn't meant for me, like that's because of something you're dealing with.
Yeah, you need to sort yourself.
Or happening, you're not that deep, but like, well, I don't know, it could be.
But no, it's true.
So yeah, I think like taking a second to react to stuff is so important, because people nowadays take things maybe so personally, but maybe it wasn't even meant for you by that reaction or. So
that's how you got to look at it, because you can't control that either.
Yeah, it's very true. It's also we get triggered and we don't realise we've got that in us. So something, you know, if we're upset about something and reacting, where is that coming from? You know, is there a part of me that I'm not aware of that needs to heal or be addressed, or that it's also in us because we get triggered too. You know, and it's just becoming conscious and aware and creating that self-awareness and doing practices that help you to really not let the triggers take you over, or see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it does make sense.
Yeah.
So, go on.
Is a big part of that just being aware of it? Like knowing what your triggers are?
I mean, it's a huge... It's something you need to definitely... What do you mean? Hold on.
Like... It's hard to explain.
So if you know what you're basically trying to say, if you know what triggers you, being aware of that, will that help you deal with?
Sorry. Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. So if you know, then you'll be able to respond differently. You know, like, okay, this is coming from this story or this situation that's happened within me, and I've worked through this, so I'm going to respond differently. And sometimes you don't even need to think about it, because if you heal from it, you do naturally respond differently.
Yeah.
But if you're being triggered, you're not. There's something in you that reacts that way, and instead of just, I keep clicking my fingers and I don't know why, like I'm Italian. I'm very Italian, don't do that, but yeah.
Italians out there are going to be getting onto you after this.
So yeah.
So yeah, I was just going to talk to you about, obviously, so what you do now is different, right? In terms of work.
Completely different.
And Kaler Healing. Talk to us a little bit about the journey into that. Because I remember, how is it long, is it been now? Yeah,
about a year.
About a year since you've opened up your things. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So I'm a holistic therapist. I do craniosacral therapy, and also meditation and some sound healing. But it was around my 30s. I just felt stuck. I felt like I've done all this meditation. I've got this self-awareness, clarity, focus, but I still didn't feel right. Something in me was just like, I just felt stuck. And what I've learned is when you feel stuck, or when I felt stuck, that is, I'm not in where I should be. Something's not right. And I need to explore a different avenue, or, it's about doing that work. So I explored craniosacral therapy. I had a deceased loved one communicate that to me to do that, so that's what I did. And when I arrived, I just, this is at the training, I felt that all my trauma came up, because I was like, I'm not traumatized. Mm-hmm. There's people have had worse than me. I kept responding in that manner, and during my training, I healed parts of myself that was unconscious in me, that I wasn't aware of. It's like your shadow self and your trauma. Trauma, when you've got it, you push it so far down and you distract yourself that you just don't want to. It's difficult, it's tough, so it's not everyone wants to do it. But in order to become a therapist, you do need to work on yourself and know yourself and heal those parts of yourself. You can't start helping others if you have not done the work yourself. And even to this day, as a therapist, I still continue to see someone, because all therapists should have a therapist. You know, how can you still treat and look after and help people if you're not still doing your inner work?
Yeah,
can't be one way.
A lot of things, I think anything. Yeah,
so if anything, everyone needs therapy, and whether that's, and you decide with what feels right for you. But for me, holistic has been the most powerful and valuable therapies for me. Natural, and I'm healthy, and But craniosacral therapy is a form of body work. It helps with trauma, and it also works with the nervous system. It's basically working with the whole. You're looking at the whole person: mind, body, soul, spirit.
So you said mind, body, health. Then.
Everything. It's not just. Like if you went into the doctors and you've got a problem, they're going to tell you, they'll give you something. They're not looking at your emotional side of things. And that's the difference between a medical diagnosis and someone who's actually got, done their medical studies. This is intuitive and it's working holistically, naturally. So there's a difference with it. Trying to think of how to explain it. So when we feel restriction, when we feel tensions in the body, and things like that, they're signals from the nervous system and from where something's just not right. You can get it in your shoulders, you can get it in your neck, your back. Sometimes you might not even be aware of it, like grief and emotional holding. That's real. That energy is real. It's quantum physics. I know people might look at it as like a bit of a wafty thing, but energy it's science. It's you know when something's not right in your gut. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
And if someone's around you is angry, you could probably sense that too. When someone's pissed off with you, or
especially with family, straight away.
Yeah, but where is that coming from? No one spoke to you. There's not something physically in front of you. It's an intuitive feeling,
so true.
And we all have that. And we all, have access to healing ourselves and working on ourselves and and going through that process. But energy for me, I've been able to feel energies from a young age. I didn't realise how sensitive I was until I started training in the course. I can feel, I used to really struggle on the trains when I worked in the city. I'd feel people's energy, someone feeling angry here.
You said that to me before though, I can't remember when it was, but you told me the energy in here and you said...
Does that have an effect on you then? Or?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I kind of that's when I got to that point where I'm stuck and I don't feel right. I'm doing this job and I've noticed, I noticed that things were, I just found it difficult, that kind of environment, and I was just out of alignment, and it's learning. Yeah, it's just very sensitive, and it's working through that trauma, because once you've healed that trauma, that energetic pull and hold is released,
Yeah.
So, if you've not healed grief or, anger and things like that, they are held in stress. It's held in your body on an energetic, cellular level. That's held in your connective tissue, the fascia. So it's been craniosacral therapy. We tune into the body. We listen to the body. You can listen to you can feel into the flow of the fluids, the membranes, things like that. And the body. The thing is, it may sound a bit crazy, but you're taught this in the training, and it's actually quite surreal with how intelligent the body is and how you can feel into things. So, but it's like energy work meets anatomy. So you need to know your anatomy as well to understand what the body's communicating to you. So yeah, and what else is there to explain?
No, I was going to say how. When you said tune into that, how?
Is it from what you feel?
Yeah, it's feelings. You feel the energy, and the body also responds with. The person may start shaking and not understand why, and that's the energy coming through, and your body may start to move, you may start crying out of nowhere, you may start laughing, you might feel cold, you might feel hot. Your body starts responding in different ways, and you can't believe with how it's communicating. But yeah, we tune in, it's an energetic process, but we also use it's light touch, very light touch, which is very powerful. But we were able to also allow the body to unwind with actual movement, and that's when it can deepen in the process and release as well. So it's well known to help with trauma. It's in, I don't know if you've read The Body Keeps a Score. If not, check it out. It's Dr. Bessel, he's dedicated his life to trauma work, and he's wrote that in the book of how much it works, because so many we're all the time in our heads. Trauma wants you to get out of your body, and this is getting you back in your body. And yoga does that. A lot of exercise does that. Movement gets you back in, but what is actually helping you to release the trauma as well? It's just.
That's what we were going to say. Is when you say obviously that's a type of therapy. Can there be the question that you posed?
Yeah.
Go on. I'll let you.
I was going to ask you: is there different types of, or can you find meditation in different types of things like exercise, or I know a lot of people find when they're going out for long distance running, they get into the zone. And for me, recently, what I've fallen in love with, I never used to be in the gym
as much.
Yeah, and now I love it. I think because I found with maybe stuff that I've gone through, and now channeling my energy into that. I feel some sort of peace, even when I'm, going through some crazy exercise that Nathan's got me doing. I find a peace within that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going back, even back to the environment as well. Is that I think that's why we like going together now. Is because that's why I got into the gym. It was my way of dealing with stuff that was happening at that time, and I fell in love with it because I know that's my therapy. I have to go to the gym. I cannot miss it. I plan my day around the gym, no matter what. Yeah, but that's my type. That's my therapy, if you call it. If I don't go to the gym, days I rest, my mind's all over the place. I feel like I'm whoa, I need the gym. Do you know what I mean? But that's me, and I feel that's a lot of people. I think that's why it's so popular as well.
Yeah, movement is important. You do need to move in order to kind of shake out of it and get out of it. But you can go to the gym, and if you there was a quote that was overused online, you know, if you go to the gym, if you eat this, but if you're not dealing with the shit, then you're not, like, your trauma, you're still gonna feel it.
Yeah, you just
and there's truth in that as well. I 100% agree with movement and exercise and eating and being conscious and things like that of your actions and your routine, but it's also healing trauma that's held in the body. Sometimes we get so good at it in a routine, and then you're not understanding why you feel crap. You could be exercising all your life and eating well and, you know, looking really, you know, you could have everything, but yet you still don't understand why you feel not that great, and you've got really bad anxiety and you're not sleeping right and got this back pain, and sometimes it's rooted to something else. Maybe it was from a car accident and that's traumatising you. You've not dealt with that, you've not processed it properly. So if it's not being processed properly, that's still holding your body and it's accumulating over time, and then that accumulation just builds to the point where...
Too much?
Yeah.
And too much to come back from? No,
you can always heal yourself. I feel like you have that capability within yourself. It's as far as... At the end of the day, it's all down to the individual and how they want to go, but of course it's completely possible for everyone to...
Because I think...
through things.
Like, touching on that point is good, because you hear it all the time and you don't think about it. I'm not thinking about this till now, but it's like people always say, like, oh, it's my escape, it's my release from X, Y, Z. Do you know what I mean? And now when you're thinking about it, it's like,
why are you escaping your life?
Yeah, it's a release. Cool, you're releasing yourself. I might go to the gym and that's my hour release. But what happens when I'm not in the gym? It's gonna come back, no? And I'm just thinking about that now. It's like everyone's trying to escape it by finding things to keep them distracted. Yeah. So it's all linking in. It's all making a bit more sense to me.
Why you talk about going within, back in, like in your body?
Yeah, that's why. Like, for me, I didn't just get to this point now. I feel like it's a combination of things. So, you know, meditation helped create that self-awareness and just calm down my mind. Like, I was able to not think as much, and then this helped me to get more into my body. And even now, like, exercise is a big part of it as well. I need to make sure I keep moving my energy and keeping that flowing, but I do need to make sure that I'm also being seen and healing, like, parts of my body and the trauma within myself. Like, coronavirus, this whole situation, it was a global trauma. This was a collective trauma. Fact. It's, you know, all the therapists are saying it's the truth. And it's also brought up traumas within people that they're not aware of.
Is that because people have had to sit with and deal with their traumas more because they haven't had work to go to, they haven't had a gym to go to, they haven't been able to go and socialise, so you're sat at home, you're not doing anything, you're only with you and your mind, and that's why a lot of people, I feel like, coming out of this lockdown, a lot of people are feeling depressed and are feeling down and
don't get me wrong, it's hard, it's not easy when you don't have you know, those things, but they also are distractions. It's been a great time. Well, it's not been easy for anyone, but it's been a great time to really go within and, you know, just work on yourself. You know, you've got no better time than what the time has been to be at home, no distractions, and look at, you know, feel into it and understand it and work through it, and if not, like, find that help to process through it, you know.
Like, in some ways, like, not in every way, but some ways, people have been saying it's a blessing in disguise. But obviously, if you take away all the bad things that the people have had coronavirus and died from it, etc., that's obviously the bad side. But there has been a blessing in disguise where a lot of people, even people I know, have come out of it with a new mindset. They're ready to go, because I feel like they've probably faced a lot of problems and overcome them, and they're coming out now and it's like, right, that's a year in my life, boom, done. Like, it's gone now. Like, over this time I've been able to overcome this, and now I'm ready to go again. Because a lot of people, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that are feeling depressed still and feeling the way they are, but there's a lot of people come out the other side as well. So it has been a blessing in disguise for some people, because I've heard a lot of people say that. It's made them more aware of things. And definitely for me as well, I can relate to that. I feel like I've faced a lot of things over the years that I've probably been brushing under the carpet, and probably come out of it now where I feel a lot better about it, because I didn't have a choice, I had to deal with it, because I had nothing else to do. But
time to process it.
Yeah, because everyone was saying it, like, the world is moving at 100 miles per hour, and then everything was boom, stop, and then like everyone was like going crazy because everyone's used to manic stress. Do you know what I mean?
So that's like when you're working on yourself, like you end up going in quite a lot where you don't want to be around people, and you just want to like, you work on yourself so much. So this wasn't really a shock for me. Sounds a bit crazy, but it wasn't like I didn't dread the thought of being at home like that, because I'm able to calm myself and connect to myself, and I have worked on myself, so I felt okay, I felt solid, I felt good. But I could see where people's traumas were coming up over the thought of just being stuck in the home, like, and that reminds me of when in the past where I said like I couldn't be on my own.
Yeah.
At home. I couldn't be at home and I couldn't be on my own. Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
And when you do these questions and you do explore that, please be gentle with yourself, because just be kind to yourself and be gentle with yourself, because it's not an easy thing as well to start discovering all this stuff.
And it'll make it harder, I guess, if you're just hard on yourself and you're just trying to be like, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to there's a lot to process in that sense. But do you think, the question I wanted to ask, do you think everything we've spoken about, meditation, therapy, dealing with problems within and like internally, do you think people do that enough and use therapies and meditation enough for how effective it can be?
See, I do a spiritual practice every morning. Like, my mornings are sacred to me, and I feel that only from my life, that where I wasn't doing meditation that much, I struggled with life, and I'm able to respond in a different way where I'm calmer. Something that might trigger someone and set them off, I've worked through those, and it's just, there's clarity on it as well. You realise and you understand that it's not about you when things are going on, or I just feel there is great value in therapies and natural therapies, and there also, like, for me, is a commitment in my heart to continue this until the day I die, because I felt the value of it. Like, my life has changed. I am really happy. Like, my life's not perfect, don't get me wrong. That I've got someone very sick that's very close and dear to my heart right now who's fighting cancer, and yet my heart's happy and I'm at peace and I'm grateful. And if that happened before, I probably wouldn't be responding the same way, but because I've worked through a lot and I've learnt the tools to be able to respond to, like, to work with, it's just different.
Work with yourself.
Yeah, you learn the tools to, it's like a new routine, and yeah, just trying to find the right word. I can't think of the right word.
No, go on. Why do you think people don't do it enough? Because I, in my opinion, from what I know a lot of people that have tried meditating. I don't know a lot of people, it could be just be me, but I'm talking from my own experience. I know a lot of people have tried it, including myself, but I don't know a lot of people that do it consistently. So I want to ask a question, is like, why don't people do it enough? Because like what we've spoken about for this last hour or whatever, you can see the benefits from it and the value you get from it. So why don't people use it enough?
I think it's allowing people to just be as well. If again, I'm not into forcing, I'm into flow, and it's like, if someone wants to explore that and work on it, that is that person's soul's journey, their decision, and you respect it. If they don't, it's up to them. If everyone was, wow, this would be a different place. Yeah. But that's the nature of life. There's duality here. You've got freedom of will to decide what you do, how you act. If you want to learn if you want to learn lessons, if you don't, if you want to keep repeating them, if you want to, and sometimes the traumas might be too much where some people don't want to. They might be really hard and heavy. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, so people prefer to distract themselves from the discomfort, and again, you have compassion for that. I was once there. I remember that's how I lived my life. So I have compassion for people if they are in that situation, in that place,
Yeah, I feel like people don't know the value of it, including probably me and you. Like, we know what it can do for us, but we just haven't experienced the value of it. like you said, you went the first time and then didn't come back for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that. I think when you did go back, you did realise the value it has, and doing it, practicing it, being consistent.
Yeah, that's massive for anything, I think. Is when you see the value in it, is when it changes.
I feel that for the meditation path and just learning that, being there in person helped massively for me. Being able to speak to someone and have a teacher in front of me that has gone through what I have, or just is able to, she inspired me, you know. And I knew that once I was in the room and the door was closed, I couldn't get out, because at times I'd sit at the back thinking I could just run out. But again, this is all coming from my mind and these stories, and when you start to create space and see that, it's laughable. You'll be like, wow. And then if you think about, the mind will always play stories, you know. It will always, and it's just being able to observe and not be with them, not attached to them, and you know, some people can really transcend their minds and their egos and things like that, but you also do get, like, even though I've done it for all these years, I still have a day where my mind will go crazy, but I'm able to create space and go, that's my mind, you know, I need to do a meditation now and I'm calm. Or you know, you all have those times. Sometimes the mind comes back a bit harder because you're creating that space, but I'm still able I just feel still. I can't explain it. I don't really think as much as what I used to. The space just gets bigger and bigger, but then you might have an off day, but you're aware of it and you're not. You just grow. You grow so much from what you started as, and I never thought in a million years that I'd still be doing it now. If you told me that and where I'd be, I wouldn't have believed you at all.
Beauty of the journey, I guess.
Yeah, it's just unfolded as it is, and I didn't tell myself I wanted to, you know, you just flow with it. And having a friend that I went to class with, that helped massively, because we'd meet and have like a coffee before we went in, or a tea, and then it just became like this new experience, and I learned so much. I went to class for about 3 years, and I learned so much about myself, others, and everything. It just really opened up the door for me, really.
Would you recommend that to anyone watching, if they were to try out a meditation class like you did for the first time, to maybe go with someone, have that person?
Yeah, go with someone. If not, go on your own and you'll meet people. That's the great thing about being in a class. There's no disrespect to apps if you prefer that, but for me, and how strong my mind was and how much I was in my head, going to class helps. That was what I needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, actually, I suppose you went alone, didn't you, and found someone there?
Yeah,
so.
That's where I met my new people.
Yeah.
Because you meet like-minded people, people that are on that journey. And even with the Crania, I've got it's like a new community, and that's where you just kind of grow with it. Yeah.
No, it's been excellent to have you on, actually. I mean, I think...
Yeah, my mind's like...
Yeah,
sorry.
No, it does open, it opens everything up. And
I thought you meant you were boggled then.
No, it's been like thinking about it so much.
Because, it's good to think about. It's good to think about everything, I think you've got to take in like every aspect and just see, like I said, you might not everything, like you said earlier, will be for you, but some things do open your mind and make you think another way, which I think is important to growing as a person and in general. You need to find different ways to open up your mind.
Yeah, I like for the craniosacral therapy, I didn't really know what to expect, and when I first went to a treatment, my mind went crazy. Like once I was in the treatment, because the attention was my body was it's like my body had my body was being listened to, and my mind just was like chat. And thankfully, I'm grateful that I learned like meditation, had a practice in place, because I was able to realise like, right, resistance is coming up in my mind, and my mind's telling me it's a load of rubbish, don't come back, all these things, and I was like, well, I'm just going to watch that. After the treatment, I felt amazing. I felt so good. I felt light. I felt free. I just felt just different. And then I went back again. It's like my body really just felt the benefits. And I came back again, ignored my mind. And it's from there that I was then able just to realise how much I can't explain it, but energetically, like, things have changed. Like, people around me, like, they've said they can feel my energy. I think you said it to me before in the past.
Yeah,
do you remember? It's
yeah.
just when you really start to work through it, and it's just vibrationally, life's just different. You just feel different. It's not a low vibration, you know, and if you do have that here and there, it's like you're able to kind of get out of that as well. Yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that story. There was a point with it.
Sure.
But yeah.
That's good.
I was just like sharing, basically there was resistance. Resistance came up for.
Yeah. I think that's what, going back to my question, just to finish off on this, but I think, in my opinion, that's what, when you said before that resistance, I think that's why a lot of people probably don't stick to it, because it gives them a resistance that, not for me, and they don't come back to it. And I think the right thing at the right time is a real thing. I feel like some people will come back to it at the right time, when they need it the most, kind of thing. Yeah. I do believe in that, I guess.
Yeah. Some people might never, though, as well, and you just respect that. Some people might never, and they stay asleep and they want to. And again, you don't have to do this holistic stuff it's just whether you want to work on yourself or not. If you want to work through what is coming up for you, you know. Some people just won't, and you just got to respect it. Everyone has that free will. Nice. I was going to say something, I can't remember what it was.
It's alright. I think we covered enough, to be fair.
Okay, cool.
Good. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Alright. Well, that was nice. It was eye-opening.